Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
This is So I'm Watching the Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. I wanted to record an intro because we're going to release some very old test footage of ours that was Riverdale. We covered season 1 and 2 of Riverdale, and because we have had so much fun with that show, for better and worse, and because it's been one of some of our most popular content, I was like, we've got this footage. It's not great. Like, our audio's bad. Yeah. We look different. There is no set. Yeah. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think the conversation is good. Mm-hmm. And I think it's worth releasing.
It's in my old dining room.
So yeah, we're definitely going to release season 2. And that's what this is. This is just a little intro for our Riverdale season 2 content. So you got to have options.
I see.
So please do enjoy. You look pretty.
I look pretty?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like the color. The orange.
My dress?
Mm-hmm. No, your face.
Well, I put blush on.
You have a clown thing going on.
Yeah. Rachel told me to wear blush, and I don't normally, so I feel like it makes me look too pink, but if you think I look pretty...
Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay. Look, we're just...
It's not the time for Facebook.
There's no real time for Facebook.
It's not the time for Facebook. Do you know what time it is? It's time to talk about 16-year-old girls getting confirmed into the Catholic Church.
Do you remember that time that Josie and Veronica got married?
Yeah, I know.
It's a bittersweet symphony, this life. Take you down the only road I've ever been down.
It's called The Wicked and the Divine. Whatever, I guess. So yes, Josie and Veronica get married.
Well, they explain away that she's 16 because
No, they don't explain away. She gives an explanation, but it doesn't mean anything. She's like, normally you get confirmed when you're like 12 or 13, but my parents wanted the Monsignor who married them and baptized me to do it. And I was like, so you had to wait 4 extra years? There's no...
to go to Riverdale?
There's no explanation. None whatsoever.
Well, because I remembered this episode. I was like trying to remember it, and I was like, isn't it like her confirmation? I was like, that cannot be. I was like...
No, it is, because I thought it was fucking stupid the first time.
Well, and my favorite is when she's explaining what a confirmation is to Archie, and she's like, I'm meant to like stand up in front of all of my friends and family and renounce Satan. Yeah. And Archie's like...
During the ceremony, Monsignor will ask me to renounce Satan, which of course I will, but...
like, he does like a...
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. And then the other issue with this episode is that it's like Archie's Goodfellas montage.
I literally was like, oh god, the Goodfellas homage.
Look, I love Goodfellas, to be perfectly honest.
I've not seen it.
I think it's a really good monster
movie. It's Ray
movie.
Liotta, right?
Yeah, it's Ray Liotta. It's really good. I love Goodfellas, but like, Ray Liotta has agency in that movie in a way that Archie does not have agency in this situation.
It's an homage. It's not meant to be an actual,
but he's doing all the stuff.
Uh-huh.
He's like... You know, it's an internship or whatever. He's like doing organized crime with Hiram. He's like an errand boy kind of thing. And yeah.
So
it's not my favorite look on Archie because he also is like headlong into this mob family now in a way that is so beyond his pay grade.
I like first. I was thinking about when he stumbled into the plot, the Blossom plot. That was like 3 stations above his clearance. Yeah. And he does it again in this episode.
100%.
But no, I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay.
But I want you to actually hear me, because pretend that we've only seen up until this episode and we don't know what's to come. We are introduced to a gaggle of lodge women that I sort of long for this show.
Yeah.
Okay, you're there with me.
No, yeah, for sure. Because I was like watching that and I was like, it's a little heavy-handed where the one is like, I pray and give money to charity because our men are like fighting or whatever. It's like so stupid, but it also...
Yeah, but we watched that McMillions documentary.
No, completely. It's stupid how not nuanced it is, but I like the vibe, for sure.
I just, like, could you imagine if, like, Abuelita was, like, a character on this show? And I mean, not a ton, but it's like...
comes back.
Does she?
Maybe they just talk about her when all the rum stuff starts happening.
Well, it's just in this alternate reality that we imagine where Hermione kills Hiram and then the women run the, like, crime syndicate.
We could be so lucky.
But, yeah, it's interesting. At this point, well, like I've said several times, I never hate it completely the way that you do. I don't like it, but for me, I'm just sort of like, eh.
It's not even that I don't hate the storyline.
Well, I don't hate it at this point. I do find this episode interesting,
Sure.
and it is at least sort of giving a little bit of counter plot to the Serpent stuff.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm never mad at the storyline or what's at the core of the plots. I just hate Hiram. He's the worst.
So I wrote down that this conversation, okay. I'm trying not to be super, super repetitive with these, but it's part of, I mean, watching a show, being part of a fandom where there's ships and stuff, it's going to come up. But I have never been passionate about any of the ships really on this show, and I have never been passionate about Betty and Jughead. They were always just fine. I was like, that's fine, whatever. But watching this again a second time, I actually do appreciate how more nuance there is to all of their relationships, but theirs in particular.
Betty and Jughead? Mm-hmm. I always
and
thought
how
it was
actually
really
sweet
cute.
it is.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Because there's a handful of times, because even Archie and Veronica attempt it a few times, which also I was way off base saying this show doesn't have a lot of sex in it, because there's been nothing but sex scenes since I said that. I don't know, but there's the scene between Betty and Jughead where they're talking about when they were, like, broken up. And she's, like, asking him about Tony. And they're just sort of like, so, like, did the two of you, like, do anything or whatever? And it's just, it feels really honest and it feels really authentic. And it's one of the handful of times that it actually, I think, suits the teenagers that the show is supposed to be about.
Well, he tells her the truth, which is that we did stuff, but not everything, and she's like a little bit miffed, but she's never mad about it. She just is like, oh, well.
And yeah, it just like, because the rest of the show, they're acting like grad students.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they behave, is like they're a solid 20, years old or whatever. But, yeah, I just really like that. We do have Hiram called Nick St. Clair filthy. That is the closest we have gotten to any of the Riverdale adults calling one of the kids dirty.
Mea culpa. I apologize. At no point did Alice call Archie that dirty Andrews boy like I thought she did. I was like...
That part still hasn't... That's in our season 1 coverage, so that part still hasn't come out, but...
Locked and loaded in here. I was certain it happened. But do you know what I think my favorite part of this episode was? I laughed out loud because it's so absurd. We meet a bunch of Hiram's, like, associates, I guess, like other mob people. So we meet this man named Papa Poutine, which is fine. It's silly. He's from Canada. It's whatever. But we meet him with the sentence, "This is Papa Poutine. He owns a chain of hot dog restaurants." Why is he called Papa Poutine?
Because he likes poutine.
Stupid.
There's probably poutine at the hot dog restaurant menu. To me, it's so funny because I actually like that. That detail made me laugh too, but in I guess if they were like, he owns a poutine chain, I would be like a little on the nose, don't you think? It's...
I guess.
It's very Britney Spears when she's like, so the concept for my music video Circus is about like a circus? And it's like...
yeah, no shit.
That's where I was. I was right there with you. But yeah. Also, I was... Maybe it's just like the current climate, but I was like offended that Hiram like dragged Pops into this. I was like
Pop the person?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean?
Like, I mean, I know he owns the diner, but it's like he has Pops. I call him Pops. Is it Pop or?
It's like Pop apostrophe S. Pops.
The place.
Chocolate
Okay.
shop.
So but it's Pop Tate.
Pop Tate.
Okay.
It's not that big.
I feel passionately about Pop Tate.
Okay, all right.
He has him like serving these gangsters, and I'm like,
well, he also makes...
leave him out of this. He's like...
Well, sure. He also makes him make poutine without the correct ingredients, and then, like, serve it to someone.
He sets him up for failure.
Papa Poutine, yeah.
I mean, it's not like you made him a hot dog.
Well, he does make Papa Poutine apologize to Tate.
Yeah, well...
like, reparations for that comment.
It's just like, I was just like, Hiram, because it's like,
no, I definitely...
serving gangsters food can be a dangerous job.
So why is it okay for Archie to do it?
Because Archie's his like manservant. Like Archie's like being put through the ringer. And we haven't really... We've like mentioned...
I just sort of assumed he was paying Pop for his trouble too, but...
I don't know. I felt like leave
Maybe he's
him...
just like letting Pop sleep in the back room. Does Pop have a home?
Well, remember there's a basement under there. Under the trailer diner.
Is it?
There is an underground basement under the diner.
Is it always there?
Do you think Veronica made Archie Reggie just dig it?
I mean...
That's where he was for all those episodes.
I would do...
So Betty, like, kind of delves into cam modeling, which...
With her dark Betty wig.
Okay. I feel about this like I do about the Kevin plot, where I'm like, this is a real issue that, like, does happen with young people exploring their sexuality. And
we saw it handled very well on Euphoria.
Yes. Although... I think a lot of young people would treat that like an instruction manual and like an endorsement and not a... But Riverdale really just sort of skirts the surface. And I can't quite remember where they go with this, but there's a part of me where I'm like, if we're going to explore this, we really should. And also it's like any above board, which if you are getting into, you know, pornography on the web, stay above board, please. Pay your sex workers. But any above board website, you have to verify your age and stuff. So it's just like, I don't know what Betty stumbled into.
Sure.
But it just sort of, part of me is like, bravo, like Riverdale for actually going there. But another part of me is like, but go there then.
Yeah, well.
If you're gonna, like, okay. So, and then Chic, I remembered that Chic had like recruited Ben, but I guess he got it. He was just trying to get a job at the like...
Yeah, I don't remember how accurate what Chic is telling them is.
Well, we get there.
Yeah.
There's more. But I love Sierra McCoy as a character. And I even
I think I love her as a concept of a character.
No, I love her as a character. I mean, she's a villain.
Yeah.
But I just, anytime that she's on screen, I'm like, yes. And I even kind of like how at this exact point they're wrangling Josie into this stuff as she's sort of like unwittingly being used by her mom as a pawn.
No, I mean, looking at her face in this episode when she's like, Josie has something to ask you, Veronica. Josie knows what's happening.
She's like, this is not kosher.
She's like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want you to be making me do this. None of this is...
There's so many times where we're not in the writer's room. We don't know. I don't want to blame anybody. I don't want to put things in people's mouths, what have you. But there are so many occasions where they almost give Josie a plot or something, but they find a way to biff it every single solitary time.
Well, and in this episode, it literally is... it's just every single time they decide to like sing a cover of a song, it's from a soundtrack.
That checks. I can believe that these like Gen Z kids are watching 90s movies.
Sure.
We were watching 80s. You know what I mean? That checks that they would know. Like if she was like the Verve song Bittersweet Symphony, it's
I just remember when it was on the radio. So.
We were like 4 when that happened, okay?
No, we were not.
I wasn't even born yet.
Please.
I'm a dainty flower.
We're in our mid-30s. I don't think that we're keeping that a good secret.
But, yeah, so that checks. But again, also just the optics of, like, bringing out Josie. It's basically just like, anytime we need someone to entertain us.
Yeah,
it's like anytime we need someone to sing, make
it's not
jokes.
a good.
Yeah,
it's not a good optics. It's not a good look.
But she's excellent in it, and
of course Ashley Murray's so good at singing.
It's like the handful, because I made a comment in our season 1 coverage where I was like, I had to start listening to the Riverdale music on Spotify on private.
Right.
Because it was like getting into my algorithm, and I didn't want that. But it's like, there's a handful of covers that Ashley Murray sings that are as good, if not better, than, because she sings, I think it's this season actually, the Noir episode. I think it's like in 2 or 3 episodes.
You might be right.
But she sings Sooner or Later from the Dick Tracy soundtrack. And I hit the floor.
Yeah.
I just full death dropped. Like, yeah. So anyways, I do love how absolutely extra this confirmation was.
Do you renounce Satan and all evil works in the light of the Lord?
I do.
In this like cathedral, and everybody is in black. She finds a way to invite everybody to it. Everybody's in black, and then Hermione is in like white with like angel wing sleeves. And I just kind of keep them like, what was the point of this?
Where is this Hermione now?
But yeah,
she does find a way to invite everybody, even though every time she brings it up, she's like, "You're really only supposed to have
very
family."
exclusive.
Just like the entire school is now here.
Tall Boy's there. It's like,
fucking Tall Boy.
He's a Judas.
I hate Tall Boy.
Apparently, I had forgotten all that. So yeah, Archie overhears that Papa Poutine wants to kill Hiram for being soft, and the stuff about like Fred and Hermione, I feel like I don't know how that got out. It spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
And also Papa Poutine, how do you know Hiram's not into it? Like,
yeah, there's a lot of
mobsters are.
There's a lot of like taking things on a weird level of faith, where it's like he let his wife step out, and now he's doing business with a man, so obviously he's weak. And
I completely believe Hiram would sit in the corner of a dark room while another man banged his wife.
Lit only by the glow of the end of his cigarette. Like,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I'm almost shocked we don't see him do it with Archie and Veronica.
Yeah, oh
like,
God. Well, I mean, I think you're right, but that's disgusting.
It's just like... And I like couldn't remember. There are times we've made this comment several times. The subtext is staggering until you realize there is no subtext.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of times where I was like, I thought they were like gangsters. Do they ever just say it? And they don't for a minute. And then in this episode, Veronica, Archie's like, your parents are the mob. I get it. And I was like, yeah,
Veronica's
he's got
like
it.
trying to tell him so much information, and he's like, no, I really don't want to know. No, please, it's fine.
Well, he can't
really
because he's also this double agent at this
Yeah.
point. So he's like, the less I know, the better.
And he's informing to the FBI, which, man.
And I forgot how, like, below board I found that to be the whole first time. That, like, agent is presumably, like, living in his garage.
I haven't heard from you in a while. I've been calling and texting.
There's been nothing to report.
And it's like,
It's the only,
Fred,
it's the only place they meet.
you are asleep at the wheel.
In this episode, the guy's coming to meet him, and he's like, Agent, what's it, Adams? He's like, you can't be here. My dad's not even asleep yet. And I'm just like,
well, isn't Fred also in the throes of a pill addiction at this point?
Is he?
Yeah, he was popping pills, like Tic Tacs, like 3 episodes ago.
Maybe. Well, he was still recovering from his gunshot. Yeah, I still sincerely remember nothing about this season. It's like watching it again for the first time.
Well, I mean, at this point, the only solid foundation we have is that the Black Hood is dead and done. So, I think from here on out, we can focus on the stuff that is currently happening.
Sure, for now.
So, God, a lot happened in this episode. Jesus. So then Betty comes home, and Alice and Chic killed the dude. A real sketchy looking dude.
Like, not real blonde hair.
I've seen some videos that guy was in. So, yeah. And Betty Well, I was gonna say Betty handles it well, but it was sort of like
It's like the very last.
Yeah, we haven't
thing.
gotten there.
Alice just with wild eyes is like, "Did you lock the door?"
I want Alice on my team.
For body disposal?
Well, just in general.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah.
So I think that's good for that. That's that on that. So we'll check back in after episode 13.
Yay!